Friends, I am happy to join Global Human Online Network. This network is aimed at promoting humane values, humanity all over the world. In this series, we'll try to understand history from a rational angle, from an objective angle, and we'll try to remove the misunderstandings which are creating strife. The idea is to promote an understanding of society which is free from communal and caste biases and tries to look at the future and progress without these biases which prevail in the society and try to divide the society at various levels. Friends, in this video, we'll try to understand the history of India from the angle of humanism. We all know history is a discipline which looks into the past, the events of the past, and interprets them in various ways. So there is no uniform way of looking at history. Same events can be interpreted by many people in different ways. And this history actually what the current society, modern society, our society has to learn. What are the achievements of human society during this period? It teaches us what are the moral values, what are the social values, what are the political values which are important to be preserved for future. What are those important things which happened in the past which should be preserved and taken in the future. At the same time, it tells us what has been negative, what has destroyed the amity between people, what has been harmful to the unity of the people, what has created hatred in the society, which we have to shun for a better future of our society. So there are both the sides of understanding history. One is the positive side, where we learn and preserve it for future, and there are also things which we should shun, we should not follow, so that a better society is there for us in the future. Now, coming to exemplify this, we will take the example of Indian history. And in Indian history also, there are various interpretations of events which happened during this period. The best way to understand history is to look at some of the events. One of the events which is very misinterpreted is the invasion of kings from West Asia, the kings which belong to different dynasties. Broadly, most of them were Muslims, but they did not belong to the same dynasty. There were Khaljis, there were Ghaznavis, there were Ghulam Vansh people, Ghulam dynasty, and finally the Mughal dynasty. Now, why did they attack India? Firstly, there is no such entity like India in those times. There are scattered kingdoms all over the country, all over the subcontinent. To say that it was a uniform country from Kashmir to Kanyakumari or from Gujarat to Assam is wrong. There were different kings who were ruling in their own ways, in their particular ways, in these parts of the society. And that's what constituted a broad subcontinent which we can call South Asia. Now, here the kings which were ruling in the northern part of what is India today, those kings had to face the kings from outside. And generally let's know that kings generally were looking for other areas where they can rule and plunder. So kings by and large had two major adventures, two major things to do in outside their own area of ruling. One was to plunder the wealth and come back. That's what many kings did in India, Mahmud Ghaznavi, Mahmud Ghori, and things like that. There were other kings who were looking for greener pastures, richness of the area to expand their wealth, to expand their treasury. So these were two major things because of which kings from Central Asia, West Asia tried to come in this part of the country. Now India, right from beginning, has been a fairly fertile land. It had good riches to the extent that people used to call it Sone ki chidiya, means a bird made of gold, full of riches and wealth. Of course, it was the peasants, farmers, and the artisans who were creating the wealth. But a big part of this used to go to the king's treasury, and that's why there was a good amount of wealth stored with the kings here. That's why we see many kings came, plundered and went away. It's not that kings only of one religion plundered and went away. Even Hindu kings like Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj of Maharashtra, he also plundered Surat and Bengal and brought the wealth to Maharashtra, his kingdom. Similar way, we also see that Chola kings of South, they also plundered Sri Lanka, Malaysia and other southeastern countries and brought the wealth to his kingdom. So this is one. Second is that kings used to occupy those regions to rule so that their treasury keeps swelling based on the what we call taxation on the poor people. So these are the two reasons because of which kings used to attack the neighboring areas, and this applies to kings of all religions. It's not that king of one religion used to do it and other kings of other religion did not do it. It was a universal fact of kingdoms as such. As I told you many times in our narrations, we glorify the king if he expands his kingdom, but only if he belongs to our religion. The king of other religion, if he expands the kingdom, we look down upon it. So this is one way why India had three borders of this subcontinent. On one side there is Himalaya, two sides there are seas. So only one side was open to the people ruling outside that, and that is the Indus River. So west of Indus River, many kings came here and they tried to either take away the wealth or settle here for ruling. And that's what happened here after 11th century, that Delhi Sultanate came into being. And these kings who were coming, they were having a different technology. Let's see this, that some of those kings, they succeeded over the local kings from here. What are the main difference? That the people who came from outside, particularly Babur is very well known here for good or bad reasons. Those kings, they were using gunpowder and guns. This was a superior technology to just swords and other type of iron-made weapons which were prevalent here. So this better technology, better this thing, sometimes helped the kings to expand their area and defeat the neighboring kingdoms. So this thing which happened cannot be seen from the angle of religion alone. Religion was hardly any factor in this. Of course, many times kings used to inspire their armies in the name of religion. Like a Muslim king will say, "Oh, come on, if we win, this will be a jihad for us. We will be spreading our religion." But obviously, it was not to spread religion. That is very well documented. Similarly, Hindu kings, when in earlier times they were expanding their kingdoms, they used to use the word Dharma Yuddha, our religion, and all that. So kings used the word religion for attacking others, but religion was not at the core. The central point was expansion of their empires for wealth and these things. So these kingdoms, when we see these kingdoms, we see that they were having a authoritarian structure, something which modern nation states have given up. Authoritarian structure of the king, where he makes the rule, he conducts the kingdom, and he punishes the guilty. That was a rule, a type of system which was there in kingdom. We don't have to follow that. We don't have to become an authoritarian state. We have to see that we will go ahead with modern values of democracy as much as possible. Try to strive towards a system. Try to devise a system which goes towards the universal declaration of human rights. That's of course a dream. That's something where we should be going. And as far as today's things are concerned, what do we learn from the history? Of course, there are many kings in the history who were very kind, who were very generous, and who treated people of all religions on the same scale. Akbar, again very famous, he also had to deal with Hindus, Muslims, and again various sects of Hindus. Hindus is a common word for many various sects within it. Even Islam doesn't have a uniform sect. So there are many people whom he had to deal with. And that's why he brought in the word Sulekul. Sulekul means with peace and amity we go further. Now, same thing was followed by a ruler from Maharashtra, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. He also believed equal respect for people of all the religions and equal respect for men and women and people of any caste. So these are the things from history which are very much needed today. Now, as far as interpretation of history is concerned, some people try to interpret kingdoms based on religion. Now, this is called communal historiography. Communal historiography was introduced by British to pursue the policy of divide and rule. They succeeded in dividing Hindus and Muslims on the lines of religion, mainly by using the communal interpretation of history in their administration. Now, leftover of that came in the form of Hindu communalism and Muslim communalism. These two communalisms also looked at history through the angle of religion of the king. In contrast to this, composite Indian nationalism, represented by national movement, represented by all the people of all the religions, and the main leaders of that, Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, Maulana Azad, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, and even W.C. Banerjee, Annie Besant, all these belong to different religions. But their nationalism was Indian nationalism. And they don't look at history through the angle of religion. Like Mahatma Gandhi in his Hindu Swaraj writes, he writes that there were Hindu kings here, and as their subjects, Muslims were living peacefully. His disciple Jawaharlal Nehru, in his book Discovery of India, tells us that there was a synthesis of people of different religions leading to an advancement of Indian culture, and that's what he uses the term Ganga Jamuni Tehzeeb. Now, this is something from history which we have to learn, and as we saw, many kings treated people of all religion with equal respect, and that's again something which we need to follow, which we need to implement in our society in current times. Now, these two are examples, and third thing, we should try to see that kings should be seen as kings, not as a Hindu king or a Muslim king. Religion was for them one of the matter of faith, but in their administration they ensured that people of all religion are treated in very equal point. Emperor Akbar and Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. These are few examples from history which we need to take further. So friends, history, when it is abused and kingdoms and religions are combined, and religion is supposed to be part of nationality, then it creates a divisive society. We have to unite the society based on the principles of democracy, of liberty, equality, fraternity, and the values of United Nations Charter of Human Rights. That should be our goal. That should be our path of learning from history in this particular way. Thank you very much. I hope you will like this video, and thank you so much.